prospect list. So, I mean, I don't think we had the MIT kid.
Yeah, Mason Strada, yeah.
On our top 200, but he's on your radar. You knew who he was.
Exactly Tennessee transfer.
Yeah, no, he's certainly interesting, and he threw hard, and you know, does look like a future professional reliever. You know, whether he goes on to Tennessee or not. So I mean, and that's a good story. I don't know that there's, you know, everyone else is ranked. You know, certain guys maybe perform better, but you don't want to take too much away from, say, batting practice, where guys like, oh, you know, but there are guys that are on our list who kind of did what you think they would do and maybe a little bit better. But
you mentioned earlier you get to hear so much about these guys with, you know, we'll say like they have light tower power. I remember 2 years ago we were walking through dead center field and Brandon Winokur almost hit me with a home run ball, which had to go about at least 450 feet. And then I think everyone was like, oh, okay. Like Brandon Winokur wound up going to the Minnesota Twins on an overslot selection. Really impressive start.
Right now.
Yeah, Cedar Rapids. Very impressive start to his pro career. So I think sometimes guys are able to, especially the high school kids, come on this stage and just be like, man, this guy is what we kind of thought he was.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, for me, I love seeing some of these guys up close I saw Quentin Young in the high school All-American game last year, but only really from up in the booth. So I was down on the field during his batting practice, and my goodness, just from a physical specimen standpoint, you understand what the fuss is about. I mean, and then he took batting practice, and he had some of the loudest BP of anyone that we saw today. So that's always great for us. You know, it's not moving, like I said, it's not moving the needle all that much, but it's always good to see players that we write and put on lists but don't see in person. To see them do anything in person on the field is a treat.
Yeah, Tatum Gray was a guy like that. He put on a nice BP show from Iowa, and I'd heard a lot of guys talk about him, but I'd never seen him.
Sounded like cannon blast. I was standing next to the batting cage.
Tate Southacene is another one. I'd never laid eyes on him. I just had heard that he, you know, had gotten pretty physical.
Wicked hook there from Alex Barr to freeze Briscoe. Going to strike out to start off the 6th inning here.
And you know, to see Tate Southacene take a really good BP where a ton of high exit velos and hit some of the farthest balls. You know, his brother was a 4th round pick a year ago with the Cubs, but a smaller middle infielder, heady kind of player, and his younger brother has more, you know, noticeable and louder tools, and he was able to show that off. It was, again, one batting practice session, but I had not seen him, and he's gotten even bigger and stronger than, you know, if you look at video from over the summer, he looks like more of a man than he did 8-9 months ago.
Really slow curveball there, 69.6 miles an hour. It's like a Zach Greinke on the mound, like as a left-handed Indiana high schooler. Although Barr has a good curveball. I think he's up to 94, 95. We've seen that tonight. Not a lot of strikes this spring necessarily to Indiana as a high school kid. Might be signable, so we might actually see him get drafted maybe 5th round or so because he's signable. We'll see, or maybe he's a 11th rounder who gets an overslot bonus.
I mean, you hear the phrase so often is he gets a 2nd straight punch out here. You know, there's a lot to dream on. I think that's something I've read in a couple of guys' blurbs before that used to produce. There's a lot to dream on, though. You saw there to finish off the at-bat, 94 mile an hour heater at the top of the zone after he just rolled a 70 mile an hour curveball up there. I mean, velocity discrepancy like that, 6'2", good body. He's got some bloodlines. His older brother played at the University of Indiana. Barr, definitely a kid. 95 dials it up there. I think you could definitely see pro teams be very interested in getting somebody like this, get their hands on him, mold him from a young age.
Wonder if we're going to get an extra batter from him here.
Nice pick. And they're going to call him safe. Well, you're definitely going to get an extra batter, Jim, because that's not the 3rd out.
I jinxed it. I jinxed it there. And that's the exception to my rule that every close call will result in an out. I think that was kind of...
There's a lot of callous rules over the years.
No, I'm just telling you.
It's
late at night. I think people are keeping this game moving along. But like he clearly pulled him off the bag.
Yeah.
You can't really call him.
There'll be an investigation out there, Jim.
They're going to have guys start pointing up the booth at Jesse. Like, that's going to be the challenge. Like, tap the helmet.
Jesse
Jesse
gets
gets to make the decision.
It's like the commercial where you can press the button to go play extra innings or overtime, you know. Sebastian Norman, I think his goal here is to have it at bat and not get plunked. He's been hit twice so far. First in the head, he's okay, as you can see.
It was like about a 74-mile-an-hour breaking ball.
I was going to tell him to be aggressive early in the count here just to be safe. I think that's a draft combine game record.
Norman is a kid.
I will have to
Getting
research
hit
that.
twice. Yeah, can't imagine anyone.
That is a nasty hook.
68.8 mile per hour curveball.
Whew. Norman's a guy in his own right, can pitch a little bit. He's 92 off the mound. Guys like him offensively. He's committed to Oklahoma State. Powerhouse program. Don't think if he does wind up going to Oklahoma State, I feel pretty confident in saying will not be playing alongside Ethan Holiday. Would think that, you know, Ethan Holiday's pro career going to get underway. Jim, I know both you and Jonathan have written extensively your mock drafts. Sounds like the floor for a player of Ethan Holiday's prowess, obviously his brother Jackson, the first overall selection a couple years ago, leadoff hitter of the season for the Baltimore Orioles, just absolutely blitzed through the minor leagues. It sounds like Holiday's not going to go any lower than 4. That would be the floor, and that would be a Holiday reunion out in Colorado.
Yeah, no, I think that's something Colorado really wants to have happen. I think he either goes 1 to the Nationals or 4 to the Rockies. I don't think he's going 2 or 3 to the Angels or Mariners. If somehow, and I can't imagine this scenario where the Rockies passed on him, he wouldn't get past the Cardinals at 5. But I think it is.
That would be another Holiday reunion.
I've heard a rumor. You know, you hear all this gossip rumors, whatever you want to call it, for the mock. Somebody was telling me that they think the Rockies are willing to go over slot and pay Jackson Holiday, pay Ethan Holiday a record bonus.
To make it happen.
To help push him to 4. So that, like, if there's a number, I should ask Danny Hostas. If there's a number,
he would not have.
I know he wouldn't. But if there's a number, let's say the Nationals say we want Ethan Holiday, but we want him at this number, then maybe the Rockies would say, hey, we'll give you that number plus more. Come down and visit us at number 4.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's going to come down to the Nationals. That they decide they want him, they'll take him.
Well, you know, I always say it's like my expression, prisoner of his own talent. Like, whatever the number is, Danny wasn't willing to commit to 9.3
right.
for a guy. But let's say, like